Game number one coming up in a bit. We have Italy going up against France on Dragonshire, the first map. Both of the teams already qualified for the final round of 8, for the final bracket, the next round of the tournament here at the Nexus contest. But of course, it's still a matter of who wins the group. Both of them were successful and won their matches against Finland and against Spain. But the victor of this series is going to take the first place in the group and will therefore have a bit of an easier bracket position thanks to the seeding, so it still matters quite heavily to both of them. France still heading into this as kind of the favorite for this particular match, but Italy has shown great strength in a lot of the games that they played here. Samuro instantly banned out. I mean, they are quick with the bans here. Maiev, Dehaka, Samuro, and Zeratul banned out. Interesting in particular to see the Samuro ban on Dragonshire. I would have agreed with that on a lot of other maps, but Dragonshire is not a map where you typically find him all that often. But we have seen him already on Towers of Doom, we've seen him a lot on Sky Temple, not necessarily here in this context, but in HGC for example. And after the Anubarak pick, where we can expect Malfurion to be taken now if they want to play around that immediate burst, we are now having Diablo and Tyrande locked down for Italy, so already a great start into a potential sniper composition and trying to burst down heroes quickly. Jaina, of course, should make her way into one of these two drafts. And there's Malfurion. Malfurion and Anubarak again together as expected. Garrosh was up too, so they still prefer to play around the Anubarak style, so the French team trying to get the massive damage in with this. And Diablo and Tyrande, they can still be they can still be adding Jaina. Li Ming, another good one that they can use here. I'm a little bit curious to see what the offlaners are going to be, considering how they are playing currently around the bans here. And we have another offlaner ban. Blaze is banned out. So what are we going to see from Italy? I mean, there's still the Auric open. You can go into Thrall as well on the lane, of course. So that's going to be pretty interesting to see, since they're actually starting to limit those options heavily, and it might make it a little bit more difficult for France. Urel is open as well, though, so you can either get Urel now for Italy, but I'm very, very curious to see what we're going to end up with on the top lane in the solo setup. Outside of that, we need burst damage. We need a mage to deliver a little bit of burst damage if you want to play around the combo with Diablo and Tyrande and go for the push, flip over into stun. There's Jaina. Okay, so immediately Jaina as the option for them. Super standard, super strong setup here. The Diablo engage in particular is super powerful if you're able to get the Shadow Charge into a wall and then the domination afterwards, and the Urel pick. So making sure that Anubarak can't be paired with Urel and doesn't have Blaze to his side either. You could still try and play with a Tyrael if you want to do that, but again, Tyrael in that solo lane, he can work. He's oftentimes not that great when it comes to soaking 2 lanes, because he doesn't have as much wave clear as other solo laners. But if you feel you need the added layer of defense, then he can definitely work with the shields and also sanctification. But there's other options, as we said a bit earlier. And there we have Thrall and ETC. ETC has been played in that position already a bit. And it's actually interesting because we could now see the early game with Thrall on the top lane and then ETC taking over after level 10 if he goes into stage dive instead. So you could play the pseudo global, have Thrall taking initially top lane, and then once ETC has his echo paddle and the wave clear on level 7 and later on his stage dive, he could go and take the top lane and rotate Thrall into the 4-man. And Falstad, so global now also taken for Italy. Okay, I'm going to try and play around that. Let's see if the bird is going to have success here. Could be a tough game for him. Needs to be very careful that he doesn't get locked down by all the CC that exists on the side of France. There's a lot. I mean, Anubarak, Malfurion, ETC, Thrall, Hanzo's Arrow even. If you lock down the bird's down. Game number 1, Dragonshire, France going up against Italy. We are in for an interesting one. A lot of possible interactions, especially after level 10, between not only the heroes on one team, but the heroes in the entire game. We're going to talk about that in a second. For now, we have Fury starting on Falstad to the left side. Sesk, how you pronounce that, on Tyrande. Mugugu on Jaina, Booyah on Diablo, and Ragnar on Urel. And to the right side of the map, Daikwaza for the French team on ETC, Nestip on Hanzo, Alchemists on Anubarak, Masquerade on Thrall, and Banana H on Malfurion. Especially the Falstad pick is gonna be very, very interesting here, because we're actually looking at a setup where after level 10, if ETC really goes into the stage dive, which we can assume since they are lacking another global, and we have them with a very melee heavy setup, so they can run ETC topside, after he gets his level 7 Echo Paddle, if he goes down that path, and then can go into Stage Dive and soak the offlane against Falstad. But if ETC at any point then with the Stage Dive jumps into the fight, and Fury is quick enough and goes into the Gust, he could actually try and gust the rest of the team away so that they can isolate ETC and quickly burn him down. So there's a lot of interactions between heroic abilities for both of the teams here that could definitely unfold. And Italy had some strong games, and they're starting things off with a quick kill. Down goes Thrall. That's a great kill for them to start things off here. The French team was very, very powerful so far in the group stage. But this is a great draft from the perspective of Italy for sure. Definitely a very cookie-cutter blow-up style, having a great solo laner on Dragonshire in Urel. It's one of her best maps because she can not only soak the experience on the lane, both of them a bit in a staring contest, but she also, with her mobility, has always the option to just jump over onto the objective, grab it, jump back, and then push the lane out. Whereas ETC has to actually move over and is eventually going to be put in a spot where he either loses the objective or he loses experience on lane. This is a bit of a tricky setup for sure. Now with the camp taken down here, we're having Italy starting to push this in. Tyrande also spotting that there's a camp taken on the other side. It was also anchored by Anubarak, so he was making sure that nobody moved in for that. Urel is now taking topside control, and eventually we're gonna have France moving down to the bottom and trying to win the 4-man here. Because if they don't, then they will lose out on the Dragon Knight. ETC is taking over top. Here comes the stun. Alchemist not really using the burrow charge just yet, but already the early lead in experience for just a few seconds with the talent for Italy as they're picking up the level 4. Trying with the stun hammer gains for Falstad for the additional lane sustain. Currently busy with Thrall in the middle, and Thrall went into the Frost Wolf pack. So we are going to see him try and complete his quest talent. Level 1 for Thrall, Echo of Elements. So 2 quest talents for him already. And with all of that, we're now seeing also an Carapace build for Anubarak, and that has become a bit more popular. It's kind of trying to tell Fury, get the hell out of here. Just chose and more or less fakes a burrow charge, and Fury plays it safe and Falstad burrowing over towards the gate, making sure that he can't be taken down. He is incredibly squishy. If he at any point gets locked down by all the CC that is in the hands of France, he's very, very likely to fall here. All the damage that can come out. Booyah is already getting bullied a little bit up at the front here. I'm down to half HP, but again, Diablo, of course, trying to get his own stacks together now so that he can simply survive through all of that. Has a regeneration too. Up to the top, Urel is doing extremely well against ETC. And this is exactly the reason why I could have seen ETC in the middle and Thrall taking top lane for the beginning of the game. The problem of ETC is he just doesn't have the wave clear at this point. Echo Paddle on level 7 is going to be his way of dealing with that problem if he goes down that path, because we actually see him with his level 4 talent speccing more so into the face melt right now. So he's going to try and play around that. Which means that we could definitely have a situation in which he actually doesn't even decide to go for wave clear, but is just super happy to give up the objective at the top and says, hey, I'm just going to sit tight here. You guys can push this in however you want, and we're going to deal with it at the bot lane instead and make sure that they can't claim the bottom shrine. 7 talent in the hands for Italy now, and we're having to put the push at the top with the camp. But now again, both of the shrines under the control of the blue team. Fury had to move away and is probably going to have to give up the bottom. But the channel attempt here by Tyrande. There is still that little wall. Stun against Diablo, and he's in trouble. Masquerade does not have the wolf. They stacked the CC a little bit. Could have maybe dropped him. But again, that battle between Falstad and Hanzo. Over the bottom of the map. Up to the top, we're seeing a similar situation with their Quasar now and Ragnar, and actually going into the level 7 Echo Paddle. Hanzo falls as the rotation went bot side, and Italy gets another kill. That's the second kill for them. They're still controlling the bot lane, and also Urel can go up to the top. But now we have the rotation from Thrall instead. It's a bit of a weird game. France all of a sudden finds themselves in a position where they have to react, and they are trying to by now at least dropping Urel here. And she might still get away from this one. Nah, not quite. Gets the hit in. Italy is starting to take another camp here down to the bottom of the map, but at this point in time, at least the counter kill coming in from France as they're taking down Urel topside, and that forces Falstad now to the top to make sure that they're not losing too much of the experience. Again, the pressure play at the bottom of the map. Anuburak is trying to see if he can maybe move in and help his team to get another kill, but so far not happening. Subterranean shield on level 7 for him, so a little bit of a hybrid build. Nice push into the wall. Stun follow-up is there, but Tyrande is being attacked. The Wolf comes in, the slide of ETC, and that's the kill. Get the kill, they get the quick lockdown on the temple, the shrine at the bot lane, and that denies a potential Dragonite to be snuck in the middle of the map. But Italy is still in the lead in experience, and they're escorting another wave straight into the towers. There's nobody at the top side to soak that experience, so that is a wave lost for France, and they're falling behind in Storm Talents any second now, and that is going to become a bit of a problem. 10 abilities are so close that if you're on the French team, you really don't want to engage at this point. Heroic abilities are taken, and that means that we're having now the Lightning Breath taken and Ring of Frost also. False stat with the Gust. Already starting to fly into the mid lane here to soak the experience. But Fury can definitely try and play around the potential stage dive of ETC later with the Gust in an attempt to set up a couple of plays for Diablo as well. Burn down against the Nuburak, moves away. Arrow is actually hitting the back line. Here comes the ETC stage dive. Cocoon on the bird, no Gust for you, baby. And Diablo is dead. They try and go for the bird, and Fury is far out, gets locked down and taken out. Double kill for France. Well played, but again at the top lane, a bit of counter pressure as we are seeing Ragnar escorting another wave in and doing really well around this. By the way, the stacks on Thrall have reset earlier, so Thrall at this point only sitting on a single stack for his level 4 quest. Has not been able to complete that. Falstad is weaving in those auto attacks and doing pretty well with it, so we're having him at 17 stacks for the time being. Went on level 7 into Boomerang as you would expect. And ETC now, as we've seen in the last fight, with Stage Dive. To the top, Ragnar has to be cautious because here comes the stun, but Urel easily jumping out of this one. Having no problem whatsoever. 2 stacks for Thrall though, so he's still going to try and work on the level 4 quest. He wants to make sure that on level 16 he can go into Alpha Wolf, capitalize on the level 4 quest reward and get the reduction in cooldown and mana so that he can spam that out with Alpha Wolf and really threaten Diablo throughout the entire time, who's already sitting in the bush trying to wait for a potential play here, but he's not the only one. There comes Banana, Arrow, and there's the lockdown. The Gust is there, but it might not be enough. The Cocoon came in a little bit too late, and so did the Stage Dive. Not quite perfectly set up, but they still might get the kill against Fury. Nah, he's barely able to get away from this one. I mean, it was good pressure by France, but it was just not perfectly stacked to get the kill against Diablo or Falstad. Both of them are able to escape here. The thought was great and it was also a cool play, but they now used a lot of resources and they didn't get the kill. They still have to get one of those shrines, and they're getting the top side now, and even busy at the bottom. Once again, could go for the power slide. Wolf comes in, another stack acquired for Masquerade. And they're playing around this now, but in the middle of the map, the fights are starting off as well. Top lane also, Falstad moving in now. We're having just heroes rotating all over the place. Hanzo is still pushing the bot lane. Another Wolf connects from Masquerade as Thrall goes in, and they're still willing to fight the battle here. They're going for Diablo. He's trying to get close enough to maybe force a fight, but is not quite able to pull it off. Hanzo escorted the wave at the bottom end. 13 talents are ready for the Italian team. The French, on the other hand, also still attempting to somehow get the control of the game back. But they don't have the 13 talent yet. They're still making the play for Diablo. The quest completed for Thrall, and Diablo falls. Great moves here again by France, this time stacking all of their CC. Nobody else was around to help Diablo out. Half the team was busy with the camp on the left side of the map. And now we have 16 talents against 16. Quick stun just to double check if the camp is taken, but now with Thrall claiming top shrine, we're also seeing them just move straight into the middle of the map to see if they can maybe get that Dragon Knight. Banana H not eating the owl, and here comes the DK sneaking it in. Urel was hoping to regain control over the top shrine, but with Thrall and ETC around, she couldn't make the play. And now we're having the objective in the hands of the French team, and they're starting to break through the wall in the middle of the map. Top side is getting pushed too, as we're still having that CC on both of the heroes. And with Thrall obviously also completing his level 4 quest, he's very much so looking forward to having level 16 for the Alpha Wolf, which I would still expect. I mean, you can go Thunderstorm, especially when you have Echo of Elements, but considering that they're trying to burn down Diablo quickly, Alpha Wolf would really help him to get that percentage damage in. And against a fully stacked Diablo, that is absolutely amazing. So we're going to find out what he goes for. But with Frost Wolf Pack, there's definitely a good chance that he's going to attempt to spam out those CCs and get the follow-up damage through that. The Cocoons are a big problem right now for the Italian team. Especially the way that they are hitting Falstad with it. They are always making sure that he can't deny the plays with a quick Mighty Gust. And that has now come into play a couple of times in this game alone already. So they did very, very well around that. With that being said, the Dragon Eye got a bit of value. Maybe not as much as they were hoping for, but it's still early on in the game. They got the entire wall bot lane though. But we have not seen a fort fall yet. The problem, of course, that we are having at this point in time for the Italians is that they are starting to fall behind in experience. They are also not as successful anymore with the kills that they set up early on in the game. Here comes Falstad though. They're trying to go for Masquerade. Falstad moves in, but with the Nuburak arriving, he has to gust them away. They were trying to go for a quick kill on Thrall, but the Frost Wolf Resilience kept him alive, and he still had Earthquake available. But as the gust comes through, that's a big cooldown burned again from the Italian team, as they're trying to see if they can maybe find something on the map here. But after the initial shock in the early game, the French team is actually playing really well and currently sitting in a very, I don't want to call it a very dominant position, but they're looking very composed. They're looking not nervous at all anymore. They are looking at pretty much decent control in the game. Most of the moves that are made on the map are initiated by them, and Italy has moved more into a reactionary play. They're still on the same talent, and they're still on the same structure account, but it's just like the moves on the map are currently made by France and not by Italy. This, on the other hand, might change things. A nice attack against the Nubarak. Here comes the quick arrow, and oh my god, Jaina gets annihilated. Arrow by Hanzo, stage dive comes in. They're about to take down Tyrande. Hanzo jumps in deep, and now they're going for the bird, and the bird goes down. There's chicken for dinner, baby. And 3 down, make this a quick kill with 16 talent. Alpha Wolf Diablo is very much alone. He's trying to move away. Not gonna happen, buddy. There's the lockdown, the root on the ground, and he can kiss his life goodbye. And that is a full Diablo death. No stacks for him. Urel is already at the top, trying to at least get a bit of counter value on the top lane and deny some experience to opponent by escorting this wave in. So this is XP lost for the team in red. But that's the problem when you have that global at the top lane. ETC can always make the quick rotation down bottom with the stage dive, and Urel just simply doesn't have that global. If they want to have that on the off lane, they need to rotate Falstad there. And that puts them into a weird spot in the first place. So right now, big control again by the team in red. But Ragnar is trying to delay the Dragonite. He's still on the shrine, trying to delay it, but unlikely to happen. Owl has already been sent out. Nestep is going to go for the channel, and he is a bit late, but still gets it. Fury was at the bot lane, was trying to reclaim it, but even with the channel not instantly being charged, we still have the DK now in the hands of France. So right now, 2-level lead nearly. Level lead a little bit more than that. 1-4 down, second one about to drop. And the quick punt against Falstad. Get the hell out of here. Get the hell out of my team fight. And that's fort number 2. Job well done. I mean, France is really just showing once again why they are one of the favorites in this particular tournament now. The initial start into the game was a little bit iffy. Maybe a few nerves there for them, as Italy claimed the first 1-2 kills and did quite well with the rotational play and putting the pressure onto the lanes, especially with the way that they were taking the mercenary camps. But right now it's one team that makes the move, and it's the team in red. It's actually crying shame that they're not blue. Allez bleu does not really apply in this particular case. But there we go. Dragonite moving in. ETC. Uh-oh. It might have been a little bit deep here. Gets pushed back in. Is trying to slide through. Yeah, apparently was in cooldown on the power slide. ETC just flew in and died and didn't even have to go for Gust. Talking Gust. There it is. And now we have also Malfurion taken out. That was a really weird setup here by them. Fury barely survives, but he gets the kill against Hanzo. But the French definitely kind of threw that a little bit. That was a very odd attack. It seems like they were not quite on the same page with what they wanted to do here. ETC jumping in as everybody else moved away. not having the power slide ready, not being able to move out, Diablo pushing him in, then Malfurion with the ult, trying to do something. So that was all over the place in the fight. And the lack of coordination cost France not quite their lead yet, but definitely in the momentum they were building up. Now they're likely to lose the bottom fort. That one should fall, considering that we have now 4 Siege Giants moving in, not only those 2, but 2 to the left as well. And Falset is at the top lane, trying to see if he can make it too. Very unlikely, with the camp now taken, and ETC also on the way. But in terms of talents, it's still quite even, and in experience too. Both of them are looking at level 20 in a bit. 36 stacks on Falstad, Season Marksman, so he's going to complete that soonish. 12 stacks on Malfurion's Broccoli. Trying to go full Groot here. And obviously, let's not forget about the 5 stacks for Tyrande. Maybe not quite as successful with those follow-ups on the Diablo initiation as they were hoping for, but still able to at least get some kills when it really mattered in the last team fight. And this is going to be an interesting one. Because, well, there's no keep down, and the lead that France had is pretty much gone. Thrall is going to get good damage out of this now that he has the Alpha Wolf. They're also going to go for the camp here at the bottom, so they're going to get this. Level 20 is there, and that gives the Earth and Shield over to a Thrall. It also gives us Bullseye for Hanzo. And the Death Mosh on the side of ETC. Gets Samosh after all. Makes it a little bit easier for him to just like suicide in. If he's the first one to fall, they can get a lot of value out of his death. But they have to give up the top. They're taking the camp at the bot lane, but now they're losing another fort over here. Level 20 talents are soon going to be ready for the blue team, but I'm not quite sure if they saw this one coming. A quick rotation in, trying to put some pressure onto the keep. But yeah, Italy is moving away from now, still keeping Forster at the top, so he of course can always fly out. The level 20 talents aren't quite there yet, but there we go. 20 on both sides, both team with Storm talents, and that gives us for the bird epic mount taken. Alright, so it's going to be a little bit quicker on the map, not going for the wind tunnel, which we have seen come in towards the later stages of HTC quite reliably, especially of course in the times of Quacknix with Fnatic. Yeah, Dequa's already with the power slide here. The thing is, ETC might be in trouble because Diablo is already moving in from the side. The rest of the team is there too though, and that should be the Earth and Shield use from Falstad. He's down. Thrall with the Earth and Shield, Falstad dead. Hanzo, the counter kill, and the Lightning Breath comes in. But France still with the heals, Banana H with the Tranquility being used here. They're moving away though, and Alchemist is in trouble on his Anubarak, but so is Ragnar. He needs to be cautious. The stuns come out from Tyrande as she's trying to allow for another kill, but they can't secure it. Initial kill against Falstad, him dying instantly, but now we're having a 4 versus 4. Diablo goes in again, and I have no idea what he was trying to do there. It's total suicide on his part. Probably didn't expect the rotation of all 4, but as he charges in, he isolates himself completely and is down. Loses the souls, loses his stacks, and the Lord of Terror is now a harmless kitten, at least when it comes to the HP pool. Has to reacquire all of them. And that was a freebie for France right there. Ragnar still moving away. Is anybody going to contest that? And yep, they're moving into the middle. They're moving in with the 3-4 heroes that they still have. But obviously, Hanzo's going to be back soon, so is the bird. And the bird's flying in. Epic Mount is going to allow them to now fight for the Dragonite in the middle. But at this point in time, France is actually just chilling. They have all their cooldowns ready with the exception of the Earth and Shield. But that last fight was a really weird one. It's a great first game, by the way. 6 kills against 11, back and forth. I mean, you can really tell that both of the teams want to get out of the group on first place, because there's a lot hinging on that. You don't want to get up against another top contender in the round of 8 immediately. Engage on Diablo. They get a little bit in. The Bullseye actually misses. Here come the stuns and the immediate wind tunnel. Cocoon already used on Urel. ETC slides in. The power slide as well after the Hanzo arrow. Well done. Earth and Shield in play. And they're going for Ragnar, but the Beetle gets burned to a crisp, barely moving out with a subterranean shield as Falstad completes its quest. But Urel is dead just before she gets her cooldown back. Interrupted there. And now we have another kill for France. 12 kills against 6. Moving down to the bot lane to eliminate the catapults. But of course the big idea is to go straight for the Dragonite and play with that. Blind stun against Falstad. The bird taken out here. And things are looking very, very good for France at this point. They're going to get another Dragonite. Masquerade is already on the channel. Gets not interrupted. The bird a bit too late from Tyrande. Hedwig on its way to Hogwarts. not really able to take the Dragon Knight down here. 50,000 damage on Hanzo. And Thrall, as you can see now, with a level 16 talent and the pressure that he applies against Diablo, has nearly caught up with Hanzo. That's the power of having the level 4 talent completed, going up against a hit point heavy hero and playing with Alpha Wolf on level 16. So Thrall really bringing the pain. Right now in the Dragon Knight, and I mean, the keep is going to fall. That's, of course, that's a given. The question simply is, can you end here? And they're going to try. They're going for Diablo again. He doesn't have the soul stacks. He might die, gets punted away, and survives for now. The keep doesn't, though. The keep doesn't. Diablo is at least able to survive a little bit longer. But now the big question, what else can you do here? Dragon Knight is down to 24%. They're already trying to lay a bit of a trap, but the game isn't over yet by a long shot. You can still lose this, and the French, they know that too. Especially Nuburak has been so squishy in a lot of these cases. You could really see how Alchemists had to be very careful. Whenever the Lightning Breath comes through on Diablo and they're trying to make their move with the Hunter's Mark against the Nuburak, he fell in HP so quickly, and every time it was a Nuburak Sparrow charge that allowed him to just move out. So another fort is about to be taken down to make sure that France has the lead, the structural advantage. Falset already flying away from this, but they're actually not fully committing to it. They're not quite sure what exactly Italy is doing here, and they don't want to take that fight. They probably it's probably a little bit of a reminder of what happened the last time they had the Dragon Knight and took a battle that they weren't quite so sure about. So the top fort is still in the hands of Italy, and now we're having the move here in on the map again for all the camps. I mean, there's bot camp to be considered for sure. Both of the teams now trying to take their own bruiser camp, one on the left, one on the right. 22 minutes in, and it's very likely that the next Dragon Knight is going to finish this game, no matter who gets it. I mean, bot lane is still wide open, right? So you need to go through the wall, but the core is right there. So there's a good chance that we're going to see that happen with the next DK, depending on who gets it. If France walks away with the Dragon Knight, I mean, then it's not even a question. With how much damage they already did to the bot lane, them eliminating the keep, there's nothing to stop an opponent. ETC can still deal with his power, with his global power. Didn't even move, by the way, out on the lane because they had no vision. They didn't know where the opponent was. They just now saw that the camp was taken at the bot lane, but they still don't know where they are. So he's just now starting to move into. Doesn't really get a lot of value in his position, apparently topside. And he needs to be really careful, because if he gets attacked, if Falstad flies in and interrupts anything with, pushes him into a wall, or just long enough with a Mighty Gust for Diablo to engage and stun him out, then he can't even jump out of it. So they're playing it extremely, extremely safe and careful. Just don't lose one on the map. Don't randomly lose a hero now. It could be the end of the game. So very cautious and careful rotations from heroes onto lanes, only when they have vision, when they know at least where the engage heroes are, the stun heroes of the opponent's team, trying to take down the mage here, the remainder of the earlier bruiser camp. That still gives the spell aura. Take the catapult out too. There's still the problem that we are having the fort on lane for Italy, so the top lane is always going to push slowly but steadily against France. And it's a close one. I mean, they're waiting for the shrines to be active, and now we're going to see the rotations again. Trying to take the top. Italy is busy at the bottom, is taking one here, but of course ETC now with the global top side. Quasar still playing this very safe here. Owls continuously send over the map. It's all about vision. That's where Hanzo comes into play right now. He's always providing vision, always checking the bushes, always making sure they know what's happening. But here we have the quick sneak, and I'm not quite sure what the French are doing. Falstad flies in with the epic mount, and yep, now they need to rotate into the middle. Okay, they have got enough time here. Was a little bit worried for a second. Ragnar was trying to get the channel. Here's the cocoon. Falstad isn't there yet. Falstad is not there yet. They're going to try and go for Diablo. Keep Thrall in mind with the Alpha Wolf. He needs to connect it, and they're going not for it. Instead, it's the Mighty Gust. Good move by Falstad. Not even allowing for the play. No heroics were used in that encounter. But for a second, it really looked like there might be a chance for Italy to just simply sneak the Dragon Knight. With Falstad flying top and then not being ready for it, I really thought, hey, if he is actually able to get that quickly enough, and they have someone ready in the middle and just zone them out a bit, they might get the Dragon Knight and just sneak it in, because the French were moving around over here and didn't have anyone mid-side. And ETC, again, with a push down at the bottom, but now we're having the fight in the middle, and Nuburak gets attacked and moves out. Nice move by him. Really good move by Nubarak. And now they're going for it. ETC is going to jump in any moment. There we have the stage dive. Masquerade is coming in with Thrall from the side. The arrow hits Tyrande. And here comes the quick Ring of Frost, only connecting with Hanzo. But if they can get the kill here, that's all that they need. Lightning Breath comes through. Again, the kill against Urel. She's down already. Tyrande is low. Diablo is in trouble. And the Mighty Gust is sealing the deal. Wrong direction this time, actually pushes the French team straight onto Diablo. Very unlikely that he would have escaped anyways, but no chance for him. He didn't have the stacks anymore. Now they're going to try and just get that Dragon Knight. 14 kills against 6. They're playing it slow. Fury is going to maybe try and make the game here. Moves in together with 3 more heroes, but there's Thrall, and they are making sure that nobody falls. Nice jukes by Masquerade, but he's low. He might fall. Malfurion is ready. But they still can save him. Just barely, but they do. Malfurion saves Thrall, and now all of a sudden, of course, that 5 versus 3 is getting dicey. Nobody at the bot lane. Fawcett about to move in against it, though. Has to also deal with the catapults. He has Epic Mount. He might be able to move to the bottom, but they decide that they can't really pull it off right now. Not in the 3 versus 4 versus 5. Not even with Falstad. Dragon Knight's taken. And now, of course, the big question, can they somehow stop them? They have the Gust back up. Diablo is going to be back to business too. But this is going to be rough. 57 stacks by now on the side of Falstad, who, of course, has Giant Killer on 13. 19 stacks on Malfurion's level 4 as the Dragon Knight is starting to move in. Here's Diablo trying to make the play. They're trying to stop this early, and they have to. The Ring of Frost doesn't hit anything, though. They're dodging it, and the Cocoon is there again. The triple arrow, and the Dragon Knight kicks Jaina straight in the face and drops her. Tyrande falls, and so does Diablo. Ragnar in the back is immediately isolated, and that is another kill. 4 down, only the bird alive, and this is game as France is going to take the lead against Italy in game number 1 of the best of 3 series here in the group stage of the Nexus contest. GG and well played, the French team taking Dragonshire. Game number 2. What a great first one. France versus Italy was actually amazing, like the first game at least. And the French, after a bit of a rocky start, came through for sure. Like, they did do exceptionally well towards the late game, especially when we're looking at Anubarak. Again, Anubarak can have some problems with survivability depending on composition, and he didn't die once. He did very, very well here. But then also, of course, problematic was just those stun chains that we had. And the French set them up so well around Hanzo and his arrow, the engage. But now we're going on to Infernal Shrines. And it's the map choice of France, since Italy, after they lost on Dragonshire, decided to take first pick. This is still about who takes the first place in the group. And Maiev is again banned out. Infernal Shrines is, of course, changing the pick patterns and priorities up a little bit. Some heroes gain immediate value on the map. Diablo, for example, even stronger on Infernal Shrines than he is on Dragonshire. Then you have also Deckard Cain, who of course is great around the shrine and the objective fight. The same goes for Malfurion with the roots. Alex Straza with the Dragon Queen can be absolutely fantastic. Zeratul is still getting banned out here though, but let's see how they're going to adjust for this. Mages is another one. I mean, this is a map where you occasionally see Kel'Thas, where you see a lot of Gul'dan. You can still play around Jaina. Wave clear is just important on not only the lane, but also the objective. So there's a lot that plays into this. And Infernal Shrine is also a very brawly map, unless you really fall behind quickly in the early game. Then you can find yourself in a position where you get snowballed because you are never on the same talent tier than your opponent when a shrine spawns on the map. But Diablo is now banned out, so they don't even plan on taking him on the first pick position. And when it comes to first pick, again, we're talking potentially Tyrande, we're talking maybe about Anubarak. Hanzo, another one that is great on the map and occasionally makes the way into a first pick position. Dignitas and HGC did it a lot, and a lot of the teams that we've seen here at the Nations Cup, the Nexus contest, have done a similar play on this map. And Anubarak gets banned out. Okay, that leaves Hanzo open, leaves Tyrande open. We have Genji potentially for the later part of the draft. Garrosh is still up and could be taken here. Another great hero to take on the map. And we don't have a quick pick for Italy. They're thinking about it here. They might have thought of going into a Nubarak themselves, and that play was shut down. So a little bit hesitant on the first pick, but there comes in Hanzo. That leaves Garrosh Tyrande open as a potential counter pick. If you're fine with the Garrosh play here, and then again, you can of course also play, let's say, Johanna on the map. Yeah, both of them. You can really tell that this is one of these games where both of them really think all of this through. I mean, Mena as the coach of France is going to talk to them now as well, of course, during the draft. But this is one of those setups where you know your opponent is definitely solid, so how do you play it? And instead of going for the tank, they pick Tyrande and they pick Jaina for the burst damage, because they already realized there's a good chance Italy is either going to take it away or ban it out if they go into any kind of Tyrande setup. And there's still enough tanks around that you can use for the initial stun. So it's not only that you have to go into Garrosh, you can go into Muradin, you can go into Johanna. There's a lot of tools available. And here the counterpart, Blaze and Deckard Cain. A lot of survivability for Italy. They have great tools to get good jet propulsions through. We've seen a lot of choke point control at the entrances of the shrine just in previous games, where Blaze can hit a 2-man, a 3-man jet propulsion. Deckard Cain can follow it up. Later on, if he gets his 20, that's of course going to be fantastic for any objective fight. And here's the ban on Garrosh. They're not even trying to head into it, but they're limiting the options of their opponent. And that very likely means that we are going to see Johanna for France. For Italy, it could even be Tyrael. If you have plays already, Bunker and Sanctification getting stacked on top of each other are great defensive tools if you need to sustain yourself through a fight here. But they even ban it out. Didn't apparently plan on taking it themselves, or maybe thought they wouldn't get it, since there's a chance that France takes it. Leaves us, I would assume, with Muradin for Italy. I mean, there's Stitches to consider, but I don't really think that the setup of Italy really lends itself to a Stitches pick at this point. If anything, it might be France that could pick Stitches, but I think with them still having the option to go for Johanna, that should be it. And yep, there it is. ETC and Johanna both taken, another tank removed. That leaves us with very few viable options actually for Italy. And I would say more and more it's likely to see a Muradin here. Melganis is still out if you think that that's the choice, but with the amount of CC that we're having on the other side, and the blinds as well, I'm not quite sure if Melganis is really the play. Stitches, I feel, doesn't really fit the composition properly. Muradin might be a bit better here. And yeah, they go for Muradin. And Reina. Jimmy as the last pick. I'm liking the way that France is running the draft. I'm really liking it. I feel Italy has a decent comp, but they were very much so pushed into a corner. So it made it very difficult for them to get a proper frontline. Muradin can totally work, but I think they would have loved to go for a different hero here. Woo, and Orphea. Jaina Orphea for the damage output here. Hello. Alright, that's going to be quite a bit of burst damage if they're able to stack all of that on top of each other. But it's very cooldown heavy too. That's one of the downsides. But yeah, let's go. Game number 2. France going up against Italy on Infernal Shrines. Game on! As we have Team Pizza going up against Team Baguette on Infernal Shrines, and the Baguettes are in the lead. France has taken it on Dragonshire, and now we're looking at Infernal Shrines. And to the left side, Italy spawns with Sesk on Deckard, Mugugu on Reina, Fury on Hanzo, Ragnar on Blaze, and Booyah on Muradin. To the right side of the map, Nestip on Jaina, Alchemists on Johanna for the French team, Banana Age on Tyrande, we're seeing Masquerade on Orphea, and Dequaza on ETC. Time to shine as we head into game number 2, and potentially the last game of this series. If the French win this with a 2-0, they will take first place in the group, and Italy would have a bit of a, well, I don't want to call it a rough start, but it's definitely going to be a more difficult start into the round of 8 of the bracket stage of the tournament here. So seeding really matters, obviously, and getting out of the group as first place is going to make it way easier for you in the next round. So that's what the teams are fighting for here, and France has the lead in that. Johanna rotating onto the solo lane. Okay, I kind of like that, to be honest with you. A good solo lane needs wave clear, first of all. and also self-sustain. And with Johanna's Loss of Hope on level 1, she has some of that, so she's going to try and do that. It's simply the thought process that ETC later on might be able to go on a solo lane, especially, of course, if he's going to play with Echo Paddle again and wants to go into the pseudo-global with a stage dive. But at the beginning, he won't have a chance in terms of wave clear against a hero like Blaze. But he still offers in the 4-man rotation enough stuns to make this very dangerous, since a quick power slide into a stun from Tyrande can already mean the end of a hero. And this is the reason why Italy is playing this so careful right now. They're not really moving out too far at this point and playing this very, very safe. Good shots coming through from France here, but I really like that setup that they're having. And as you can see, now Alchemist is just standing at the top here. He's getting the experience, getting the damage. Doesn't really push it out too far. He still isn't really quite as good a solo laner on Johanna as Blaze, but it's still a very solid setup for them. And I'm liking that they make that small adjustment given the early game weakness of ETC as a solo laner. It's really the level 7 talent that helps him tons with wave clear. So there is a good chance that Rayquaza is going to rotate up topside later on. But for now, we're actually seeing down to the bottom of the map already a camp about to be taken. They're trying to, but Italy is doing the same thing on the left side. Johanna even moving mid lane now, trying to help out with it. And there's the kill! Down goes Muradin. Sorry to say, buddy, but you just don't simply engage into a combo with that much burst damage around Jaina and Orphea if you have an ETC on a Tyrande in the same setup. It might be a bit of a weird first thought when you look at the combo and you're saying, like, well, they're playing double mages there. Because traditionally you don't want to play double mage because it's very cooldown heavy. You want to have at least one sustained damage healer in the lineup. But if a lot of your thought process is around getting quick kills after stun setups, then having this particular one really can help you out. And we've seen that just now. I mean, Muradin just got blown to pieces within seconds. He had absolutely no chance of doing anything after the stun happened. It's like Hunter's Mark, stun to the face, and then just whoosh, all the damage in the world. So yeah, I'm liking the setup here a lot that we're seeing from them. But let's see if they can really follow that through. We have camps already taken. Johanna is still taking that solo lane at the top, as we said before. Great choice, in my opinion, for the reasons pointed out. The weakness of ETC at the beginning of the game. But now they're late to the party at the bottom of the map, and they're actually only with 4 heroes here. So Johanna is still caught top. Did not take down the Shaman, by the way, but they have like a double wave coming in. That lockdown at the bot lane is a huge problem, though, and everybody is already low. They were not supposed to fight like this without Jojo, and here comes the kill as Ragnar goes in, secures it quickly against Tyrande, but Ragnar dies as well. Moving in a bit too deep, and just look at Booyah here on his Muradin. He's low, but Hanzo just obliterates Jaina, who was already low. But then again, Muradin falls too. So all of a sudden, 23 stacks against 5 in favor of Italy, but it's a 2-for-2 trade, and ETC is already back at the front here. We have Tyrande back. Top lane is getting pushed by the camp that France still has on the lane, so they're going to get a bit out of this one. The early level 7 talent is there too. They're trying to go for Jimmy. And this could still end up with another kill against Fury, and things are starting to get a bit dicey here. Because all of a sudden it looks like France might be able to secure themselves a Punisher after all. Or can they? Here comes the pushback, nice move, but this should still go to Italy. Italy takes it, but can they prevent the kill? Oh no! They cannot. Ragnar falls. Hanzo's at the top side, where the entire wall went down to the Shaman camp, and even some damage put onto the fort itself. So despite the fact that the Punisher was won by Italy, they actually bled for this one. It came at a cost. 4 kills against 2, losing the top wall as well. And now they're not able to do anything here either. That wall is still going to be intact. The Punisher puts a little bit of damage onto this, but that's already about it. And as predicted, ETC rotates onto the solo lane now. So now that he has Echo Paddle on level 7, we're having ETC rotate topside and saying like, boys, I got this. Solo lane, that's me. But Johanna, having her up there at the beginning of the game was a fantastic choice, and I really, really like that adjustment. It just shows that they are thinking very well around this, that they are flexible in that setup too. But now Johanna has taken the position in that 4-man, and they are starting to take this camp of fear. Coffin Girl is there. And the rotation of Blaze comes a bit too late. There's a Stormbolt, but an Iron Skin is being used immediately, and they're all Gucci. With that being said, the build for Fear, kind of the standard Ancestral Strength, and then usually go into the Dread Talents on 4 and level 7, so we have Fright taken, and we're seeing the Mind Devour. As Nesdip is put into a bit of an awkward spot, but Mugu also with the penetrating round, not really helping his cause, pushing first of all the intended target away, and then he himself falls as Jaina goes in for the damage, and that is a lot of burst damage here. Hanzo is on the run. You can run, but you can't hide, and eventually you're gonna die, and that's a staggered death. There's an argument to be made for him just suiciding once he realizes that he can't get away anyways, because now we have Jimmy back to business, but Hanzo is dead for another 13 seconds. It's not the biggest problem in the world, simply because the death timers are so low at this point, but later on in the game, that's pretty normal that you would, if you realize you won't be able to get away, that you will try to suicide to not stagger deaths. I mean, we've even seen teams, when they chase a hero, delay the kill for as long as they possibly can, just to have that death staggered with another that might have been acquired earlier. So, big thing to consider. But you can see how much ahead the French are. They have their heroic abilities already. They're trying to go for Muradin. Missing the Blessed Shield. Might come at a cost. Still a 1 minute cooldown. It's not too bad just yet. You'll have to be careful because, yep, no, there's Muradin back again. But they should be able to take the camp because there's still 2 heroes stuck in the middle. But with that being said, Ring of Frost is now taken. And we have, of course, also the level 10 on Orphea. Gonna try and suck them straight into the middle here. Clenching jaws for her. I mean, with the only thing that we don't see yet is Muradin. Sorry, not Muradin, but Reyna. But I actually think that Hyperion would be great for him. Well, goes into the Raiders. Great for scouting as well. But of course, if you just want to have a bit control over the Shrine, then going into Hyperion can really help you secure this. Both of the teams busy on the Shaman camp again. Gonna try and take that. But the setup, or the stage is set for the next big one. And this is going to be a crucial one for Italy in particular. If they lose out here and fall farther behind in experience, they might get snowballed in terms of talents. And that is a huge risk, of course. Already, ETC has to be careful here. And is able to move away from this. Still eats the Stormbolt, but that doesn't really matter too much. Muradin actually taking quite a bit of damage, and they're following up on it too. And he's about to die, but barely gets away. The kill against Tyrande, and here goes Jaina. Oh my god. Italy is destroying the French. They are melting them down like Swiss cheese. This is a little bit nuts there. With all the burst damage, they really try to go for Muradin, but the moment he is able to get his own avatar through, he survives, and then you have the stun setup from Ragnar on Blaze against the side, and all the damage comes out to drop the squishies. All 3 of them fall. ETC just wasn't in a position where he could peel. He was the initial target and was still stuck at the top, so they could at no point really move in and try and peel with him to create that space and safety for the backliners and allow them to get their damage in. So, a nice idea from France initially to go for that flank, but then they follow it up too much and get taken down. And that brings Italy back into the game immediately. Italy is back to business right now. And with that, they're actually delaying also the Punisher. And the reason is obviously simple. You want to have level 13 when you push. You don't want to have a talent disadvantage and give your opponent a chance to play around that. So they just move away at 39 stacks and going to take it a little bit later. But they might lose Reyna because of it. They're going in. The damage is not enough. And that's another cooldown burned. Didn't get another stun in. Couldn't go in for the quick condemn here. Didn't get the burst damage in time. So Punisher is taken as the 13 is in the hands of Italy, and now they're having healing static. We're also seeing more of a crossfire focus here on Blaze with his 7 and 13. Obviously, Ancient Blessings for Deckard Cain, and here comes the jump, the follow-up attempt, the flank with Ragnar and the jet propulsion. Here comes ETC with a stage dive, though the Ring of Frost wasn't too bad. The clenching jaws, the power slide, massive damage on Blaze, and he goes down. Beautiful setup from the French here. Fantastic, using the bunker as a bullseye, as a target for the clenching jaws, and just timing it perfectly with the damage on Jaina as well. Blizzard comes in, they take them down. ETC is able to power slide straight through the targets, and only Blaze falls, but that could have been even more well executed by France. Very well done by them. And the Baguette's on the move again. Blessed Shield, stun, slide, and down goes Muradin, and guess what? The old man is getting bullied by the girl with the coffin. Immediately taken out there. Double kill. Just as Blaze comes back, and France again with the momentum in the game, slightly ahead in experience. They have lost the fort in the mid lane on the other hand, that's something to be considered, but still, very good setup for them, good coordination. Didn't work out when they were going for the last objective, but right now they're back on track with their game plan. 9 kills against 5, very good here. And of course hoping for the level 16 as they're pushing through the bottom. ETC on the way top side, has the global, can use it whenever need be. But what the French have to be careful of is those flank plays that we have from Blaze. And Ragnar is already waiting for him again. He wants to have another jet propulsion, and these jet propulsions are scary when they're getting followed up by the damage. And talking damage, I mean, you have 23,000 damage on the side of Hanzo. We're having 23k for Jaina now, 21 for Fia, and even ETC with a lot of work, at least on the siege damage side. Especially as the solo laner, obviously. Still trying to play for 16. That's what we're seeing from the French now. Gonna try and stall this out a little bit. Booyah on Muradin, the money pick, is trying to also have maybe something set up. You see him always lurking around here towards the side, trying to see if maybe someone stumbles into the range of a Stormbolt. And they're even looking to see if they can maybe get a kill there. What is Daikwaza doing? Ah, okay. I was for a second like thinking he's not really moving into that. Checks the bush, very well done by him. Double checking the bush, making sure that he is not falling into a trap, and that worked out nicely. 16 now in their hands. Tiny lead. Immediately double checking also what's happening over at the camp. It's not taken yet. They take their own, and now they have level 16 talents. And they're trying to make a play here again. Thinking about it at least. And with 16, we have now, after 13 focus into the Shadow Walls with Determination, we have on top of it now also the Band of Anguish. Pretty awesome against Muradin, especially after Avatar, of course, being used. ETC sliding down so that he can still go topside. Stone form for Muradin for the survivability. Blaze, by the way, with the Juggernaut plating. Really starting to have a huge problem with all of that magic damage that comes out, that spell damage on Orphea's and Jaina's side. So a nice adjustment that we're seeing from Ragnar to try and survive through the burst damage and allow his teammates to make the play afterwards, after all the cooldowns are being used. Because that's the problem when you're playing double mage. If you go in and drop all your cooldowns on a target but you don't get a kill, then you don't have a lot of damage potential for the duration of those cooldowns, and that can be a problem. Here comes the attack. Booyah is low, gets attacked. ETC with a stage dive. Arrow comes out too. Ring of Frost against Reyna. Power slide is in, and ETC moving out. Cooldowns exchanged on all sides. Muradin, on the other hand, just now finally getting the Avatar. Wasn't even needed, in my opinion, at that point. Could have, like, held it back a little bit longer. But here comes, once again, the French team. They're trying to move into the shrine, trying to claim the position here. And, of course, the damage cooldowns are back. But the heroics have all been used in the last final engage. They're going again for Muradin. And here's the massive damage. But the jet propulsion from Ragnar was a solid one. Einskin had to be used on Johanna's side to move out of it. Once again, Booyah really low, but his level 1, the third win, kicks in already and gives him hit points back. 11 against 11, stacks on the shrine. Arcane Punisher being fought over in only 3 seconds until we are having the Blessed Shield for Johanna back. Cooldowns are coming back on some of the heroic abilities, and that's going to help, especially Johanna, to get that lockdown. Furious trying to get those stacks in, and his team is about to take the lead here, but right now the French still angling for a bit of a win. Hyperion, Reyna's Raider still around here. More Blizzard damage, burning the wave down and pushing the lane out towards the Italian team. And still Blaze on the point. 22 against 23. Blessed Shield comes in. The arrow into the backline. The immediate jump. And the bunker as Orphea falls. Hanzo gets killed too. ETC is about to die. He drops, and so does Duranda. And barely the kill against Reyna, but the rest of the team is not out of this just yet. Johanna trying to walk away here, doesn't have the Iron Skin, and also Jaina on the run, but Muradin is jumping in, dropping her. 4 against 2 only. Johanna walks away. The Blessed Shield engage didn't do a lot. They were trying to isolate that backline, but then the Hanzo arrow comes in and hits the 3. Immediate jet propulsion, the bunker even preventing the escape path here. And once again, Italy with another victory on the Punisher. Punisher number 3 will go to them as well. 11 kills against 9 in favor of France, but we have Another objective taken by the Italian team. Master Tony coming in as well. Johanna already all the way down at the bottom of the map. So we're going straight into that. And let's see how exactly that's going to work out for them. The Owl comes through up to the top. Booyah is there and is still going to go for the last one. They can stack it again if they want and just delay it a little bit. Already moving in with the rest of the team. They still have a camp taken down here by Ragnar. And are about to make the rotation back topside to all group up and take down the fort. And I mean, the fort itself is definitely going to fall. Question is, what else can they get out of it? Here comes the Punisher. Finally move in. And down to the bottom of the map, also a camp now taken by the red team. France also trying to take at least that Khazra camp out, but the rest is rotating in. We have Blaze sitting in the bush waiting to see if he can maybe interrupt someone. It's not quite the case. They're going to give this one up. Have to be careful that Ragnar doesn't get the damage in, but he's actually going for the camp. ETC pushing out the mid lane, as we talked about a little bit earlier. Might even see if he can get a bit more. His stage dive is ready, so he could also move to the bot lane and try and get another one there. But is starting to move in. And here's the bait on the Punisher. They bait it over and burn it down really quickly thanks to the Blizzard. Bait it in. The wall is already getting attacked, but the Punisher goes down to 50%. There's finally the potential follow-up. Banana H gets stunned by Blaze, and there's that stun with Hanzo. Triple stun from him. Banana H goes down, but Hanzo is dead as well. It's a kill for a kill, and a weird battle all of a sudden for the Italian team as they're still fighting underneath the key, but they are getting the damage in, and they have level 20 just now, so another advantage for them, but they're on the move back now. Can France get a kill there? In comes ETC. Power slide is possible, but the lockdown from Deckard Cain. No more fighting, no more kills. They're waiting for 20, and as Jaina was already incredibly low, they're not willing to risk another death. 10 against 12, and now, obviously as well, the keep lost at the top lane. So the French are falling behind in structures. They still have the superior kill count, but they also don't have the storm talents. It's a bit of a crazy game. I mean, this is an amazing series. First game was already cool, and this one is looking pretty good too. 51,000 damage by now from Jaina. Turandon 18k, 31 by Ophia, 36 by Hanzo, and the rotation towards the bot side again with ETC trying to push out the wave top. And this is really where ETC is going to have a huge value for your team. Before it was only about experience. It was really just you trying to get experience. Now you have level 20 and it doesn't matter as much anymore. But since they lost the keep, they can always have ETC protecting the weak lane, getting those catapults down, and make sure that the catapults are not ending up at the core. Ragnar is moving away from it. Level 20 talents are in, and that of course also means bottomless flasks. And that's fantastic. For the shrine fights, that is absolutely amazing. With that being said, they're still going for Ragnar, trying to get the kill in here, but no Blessed Shield committed. Decided to not try and take that kill here. Also, now that we have level 20, Engulfing Oblivion taken, so you have the armor reduction. And also the potential cooldown reduction there too. So Ophia can really try to get that additional damage now out, but especially like helping with the armor reduction. It's on top of Tyrande. Not in terms of stacking, but like you can set it up now against multiple targets, obviously. And that's going to be great. And talking about it, there we have the kill against Muradin. Goodbye, Sweet Prince. No chance for him. You go into the bush and you are immediately burned down. I mean, just look at it. It's one heroic cooldown that they just used and it just burned him into the ground. They're trying to go for Ragnar as well, but they can't get him. But they take the Shaman camp. Muradin dead within half a second. One stun and goodbye. Tyrande follows it up, and then immediately the damage output from the two mages and absolutely no chance to walk away from it. Boom! Immediately into the ground. And that opens the map up. And with that being the case, they could try and drop the top fort so that they at least have one catapult every 3 waves pushing against their opponent. Instead, they are rotating on the map and try to maybe get the camp towards the bottom right. Looks a bit more likely. They took at least a camp away from their opponent. But I honestly think there was a chance for them to take the fort, and that might have been a little bit better for them. Muradin is still not bad. Not bad. They're taking at least the waves and push them out. Top lane shouldn't really become a problem anytime soon, but now they get the head start on the objective. Alchemist doesn't get hit. Ragnar was there. Muradin is back though. So the head start for France. They still need to win the fight on the other hand. Fury is already getting the shots in. 12 against 5. Stealing some away. Softening them up right now. Nestip comes in through. 19 stacks for now. And at some point, Italy is going to be forced into that battle. ETC keeps himself safe. Good positioning by the Quasar here. Jet propulsion by Ragnar. The arrow misses. The stage dive into the backline. And down goes Blaze. They're going for Muradin. And he is dead. The Dwarf is down. Both of them eliminated. The stun Fiesta is just too much. Orphea didn't even use her ult just yet with the clenching jaws. Did not jump through with it. Everybody else just racking through that fight. 2 down, and all of a sudden the French are about to win their first Punisher in this game. Mid lane already softened up as the wall is gone, and they're trying to get a little bit more. Mugugu is rushing away on Reyna, but yep, that fort is not going to make it. They are trying to drop it before the Punisher is even there. Already massive damage put onto that. ETC, of course, on its way to the top. 10 seconds on the cooldown for stage dive. That's totally fine. Take the catapults out. Make sure that there's no pressure against the core and that you have all the time in the world to at least get a keep on the mid lane. And that's what they're currently trying to do. ETC is still pressuring our top lane. He has the cooldown back. They're going for it. And this is going to be absolutely awesome here for the French. How much can they get out of this? Muradin and Blaze are soon going to be back. Blaze has the cooldown for Bunker ready. And we have basically everything up except for Avatar for them. They're starting to move in for it. They can't save the keep. That's not happening. But how are the French going to play it? Are they going to try and get the kill? They're moving in, and they're going for Muradin. He barely gets out, but what a stage dive again by ETC. Hitting 3. Cooldown immensely reduced now, of course. As a result, the Ring of Frost doesn't connect with the target to drop it down. But they are on their way back out. They couldn't get the kill, but they have the play. Stormbolt misses. A little bit of random damage from Hanzo. But the keep is down 22 minutes into the game, and we still have no idea who's going to take it here. 10 kills against 15, and again, the French are rotating away. The Scout Raider is there, moves in, moves out the entire time, scouting what's happening. Top lane has to be catered to, and that's where ETC is headed. Already Hearthstoning back, and will make its way onto the top lane. And I'm coming back to that top fort. I really think eliminating that would have helped. Obviously, the difference between a fort or a keep being eliminated is once you take the fort down, every 3rd minion wave on your side is going to spawn a catapult. And if you take the keep down, every minion wave is going to spawn a catapult. But if they would have at least eliminated that, the top lane would have been a bit safer. That 1 catapult every 3rd wave kind of matters a little bit. Now, ETC would have still had to rotate in, don't get me wrong. But now they are fighting for the fort at the bottom of the map. Cooldowns are ready, nearly. Ring of Frost is missing. They're just zoning them out. Another good hit and quest completed for Tyrande here too. So in terms of the stacks, doing fairly well. 35 for Orphea on her level 4, by the way. Not getting that in just yet. But the cooldown reduction would be really, really good for her. Mana-wise, didn't really have too many problems in the fights just yet, but the cooldown reduction would be fantastic for them. Outside of that, every single quest has been completed. I mean, on the damage side, 67k now for Jaina. ETC already moving back. Like, yeah, he needs to be careful now. He is one of the prime targets. It's a problem when you are a solo laner or an off laner in the late game. When you have the global, it's an incredibly powerful tool, but you're also, I don't want to say a liability, but you're the easiest target, the juiciest targets in the eyes of your opponent. So you have to be very careful that you're not getting hit by a gank because you got too greedy and moved too far out on the lane. But Rayquaza playing a great series here. And again, they're just anchoring the play here, making sure that nobody is going to be able to move in and try and take the camp away from them. No surprises at that stage of the game. We are 24 minutes in, and it's going to come down to another Punisher here. It's just so sick. The setups that we're seeing the entire time around Hanzo's arrow, around, of course, also then the ETC with a stage dive when he comes in, around the Blessed Shield, into the Ring of Frost if it comes to that, and the insta blow-ups that we are seeing. It's just so critical. If you miss one connect, then that might be the end of the game at this point. Before you had the chance to say like, well, objective hasn't really just scaled into the late game yet. We still have an opportunity here. But now if you miss the combo and the target gets away and you get turned on, then that might be the end of the game for sure. 25 minutes in, both teams on level 23 here already. ETC takes the camp topside. That's going to be amazing for them. It's going to relieve a lot of the pressure that we're going to see there. And the fight is about to start. He takes the catapults down, but down here, it's the fight over the objective. And this is likely going to be the last one of the game. It could be. Doesn't have to, but it's likely. Duranda even stunning out minions here, of course, also trying to see if maybe someone is hiding over there. But we have the lead now for the Italian team. ETC hasn't quite jumped in yet. Bottomless Flask, fantastic tool for Deckard K now to keep his team alive in these choke points. They're all dancing around here. Alchemists again with a Condemn. They're getting the damage in. 25 against 11. At some point, the French, they have to make a move. They have to be careful. They're going in. There's the Blessed Shield. ETC jumps in again. Massive connect. The Ring of Frost. The kill against Hanzo. Even with the bunker, they have no chance there. And that might be the end for Italy. Again, Ragnar gets sucked in. The stun connects. Gets the shield. Moves in. Tries to make it happen with the spell armor. But nope, it ain't. Down goes Blaze as we're seeing the attempt of Reyna to sneak that Punisher. That doesn't happen, but he might get the kill against Jaina and barely misses out on it, mostly because Banana Age is healing him up. Good attempt. Very amazing penetrating round here too. Jaina nearly died in all of this. And it was a nice attempt by Reyna to just sneak that in from the side. But the penetrating round, just as ETC uses his power slide, was also fantastic. They try to take him down. They can't make it happen. But with two heroes dead and an Arcane Punisher, 26 minutes into the game now, moving down through the bottom of the map, they're in a great spot. And top lane isn't even under pressure because that Shaman camp that was taken by Dequasa's ETC early on, that pushed out the lane. So they have no pressure there either. They open up the small wall and the French are trying to go for another 2-0 victory. The burn against Muradin. Burn, baby, burn, and Muradin is down. He's eliminated, and that's another big staggered death just as Blaze is coming back. Power slide after the ult, and that is 2 down. This has to be game. Deckard Kane has fallen. So did Jimmy. They go for Fury again. They try to get the kill here. The Owl connects the clenching jaw straight into the bunker, and he's set up for a kill. They only need a stun, but it doesn't even matter anymore. We already have the Punisher in the middle. They're going for the core here. The rest of the team just zones them out a little bit. The kill against Blaze as Ophia and Turan, they work together. They're trying to eliminate Hanzo as well, but the core is falling. France is taking the first seed in the group. They are winning the group. They take down Italy with a 2-0 victory. Congratulations.